Welcome to the Diversity Pivot Podcast. This season, we are talking with leaders inside organizations focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're talking with them about best practices and proven tools for positive change. We are also sharing vignettes from our new book, Allyship in Action, to help leaders take real, tangible action on DEI right away. This work is important because all humans need to feel seen, heard, and belonging in the workplace. Thanks, allies, for tuning in again this week. We're going to drop another episode based on our new book, Allyship in Action, with a sneak peek inside some of the key practices and strategies we recommend in allyship, not just at work, at home, and in all spaces that you are, because there is no on and off switch, and real allies take action, but aren't always sure what to say or do. So if that's you or folks you know, how to get people involved in this very important conversation around diversity, equity, and inclusion is really the purpose behind this set of tools. So the subject today is courage. Courage is a really critical tool in the allyship toolkit. And courage is different for different people. So, I invite you to create your own definition as we walk through these tools and really personalize it to where you are on your journey and what's going to benefit allies in training around you, because we are all allies in training, myself included. It is a practice, an intentional and consistent one at that. Courage is speaking up, using your voice. And if I think of anything that my allies have shared with me over the years, as far as when I ask for feedback on what I could be doing more of, what could I be doing less of, what are my weak spots, the unanimous reply is keep talking. And to me, I'm like, well, I post every day on social media. I write a newsletter every week, constantly, doing new podcasts, videos, presentations. What else could I be doing, entrenched in this work? So if I could still be talking more, chances are you absolutely could. And I am no perfect ally. That's not to say that at all. It's just I really feel like I'm using my voice a lot of the time as much as I can. But we all can be using our voices more. And it's not singing from the rooftops. It's not public social media posts, I think, that most people are talking about. It's when something goes awry, someone says or does something that's not so inclusive, it's a chance to really stick up for the person who's maybe been microaggressed or made to feel othered or different or singled out. And it's a chance to educate the person that needs to know better. And this causes a lot of frustration, I think, for folks. It's like, really? Why do I have to educate so-and-so that doesn't get it? Hey, if you're okay with it happening again, don't say anything. And that's always my coaching. If you are okay with whatever happened, with whatever was said, whatever was done, if you're okay with that person freely going through life, continuing to think that that's okay, hey, best way to ensure it happens again is to absolutely do nothing. And that's painful. That's painful for me. I have, microaggressions happen in my presentations, my one-on-one coaching clients, with my family. And it's just a chance. I look at it as a chance to help them be better. And while I can get exhausted, especially if it happens frequently or it happens in a way that just really feels deeply, profoundly wrong, I can get frustrated. I'm not immune to that compassion fatigue that comes with this conversation. But what I'm calling on you with the courage strategy is to really think about what happens on your watch. What happens, right? And if you choose not to intervene, then that is saying it's okay, okay? And some of the reflection questions that invite you to unpack in your own courage journey is, some of the coaching questions I really like for myself when I'm conflicted. I'm not sure what to say or do. It just buys me a little bit of time because you don't have to say something right away. You can absolutely follow up later. Although it's definitely proximity to the event is important. But we don't want to shame or blame folks and embarrass them, especially if it's in a group of folks. But what I might reflect on shortly following whatever event prompted some courage is, what if I say nothing? What's the risk? What's the reward? Do I get to protect my ego? That hurts. Does this happen again? Do my friends and family or those I care about see that I'm okay with that happening? So just unpack that. What if I say nothing? Another coaching question I like is, am I okay with this happening again? Right? Am I okay? Because yes, then it's easy. It's a non-event. If not, got to do something. What if my child, friend, close family member, what if they said or did this? Yeah, that one's powerful. I think about that one a lot. It's like, oh, okay. All right. Yeah. If I'm not okay with a close member of my family or friend circle doing this, then there's probably a good barometer check there. And, if you're thinking, I'm not sure what Julie's talking about, things happening in my watch, one of the key terms that we unpack time and time again in the book, Allyship in Action, is microaggressions. So again, micro because it's small, subtle usually, not usually intentional, but aggression because it hurts nonetheless. So the cumulative impact of microaggressions is very painful. So for folks of color, for folks in the LGBTQ plus community, for women, for folks with disabilities, microaggressions happen at a much higher rate. So if you think about a day in the life of somebody that's different than the majority group, whatever settings they happen to be in, everyday settings, grocery store, bank, school, work, when you're constantly made aware that you're the other through interruptions or someone over-explaining something to you or not being included in an activity or someone making an assumption about you that's not quite true, these everyday common microaggressions take a toll on someone's mental health, and it's called weathering. Weathering is the cumulative effect of a lot of othering behavior. When you're made to feel other than the group or oftentimes less than the group, you as a human being want to belong. You want to feel a part of the social circle. And so these stings, these microaggressions are great chances to be on the lookout, allies. I talk about is keep your radar up for these microaggressions. Be on the lookout. Again, what's happening on your watch? What are you signaling is okay through your own behavior? Because we're modeling behavior for others every single day. There's no better way to change others' behavior than modeling it for them themselves. Some talk tracks, if you're struggling with what to say or do, again, you can follow up later and say, hey, I want to unpack what you said yesterday. I've been thinking about it and I don't think you meant it this way, but here is my perception. Or one of my favorites is, hey, I used to think this too, or I used to say that too, and here's what I've learned. I'd really encourage you to consider alternative words or phrases to that. I just used that one the other day and it worked great. There was no shame, no blame, and someone learned, and they're not going to say a word that's really harmful to somebody that could really cause pain to. So just unpack courage and assess yourself. Think, how courageous am I? This is probably one of my weaker spots as an ally because I'm a people pleaser. So we are who we are. No one's asking you to be perfect. Just accept who you are and flex that courage muscle a little bit more. All right, allies, buy the book. If you haven't yet, support Allyship in Action, 10 Practices to Live Inclusively. Share it with a friend. There's assessments, there's activity guides in it. There's a separate activity workbook that you can work through with friends, family, colleagues. We highly encourage you to buy them in tandem on Amazon. We also take bulk orders on our website, nextpivotpoint.com, and highly recommend having an accountability buddy to go through the exercises with to stay on the journey, along with listen to this series. So we'll be back with another strategy to unpack next week. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Allies are necessary for positive change. If you are on the journey to becoming an ally, we invite you to participate in our brand new Lead Like an Ally online program, or get a copy of our new book, Allyship in Action, available on Amazon. Both are helpful tools that meet leaders where they're at and help provide tools for professional and personal settings. Head over to nextpivotpoint.com to get started today.